Today let's discuss about what is JavaScript and why we need JavaScript. JavaScript is nothing but is a programming language. It is used to execute a code. It is a interpreter language. Interpreter language means the code will executed line by line, and it is used to create a dynamic web pages by manipulating the DOM. And it is the JavaScript is used to create a dynamic web pages. I will explain what is dynamic web pages and the DOM in pre and later. uh, this is the JavaScript. What's the main uses of JavaScript means to create a dynamic web pages. Using JavaScript, we have to create a dynamic web pages by manipulating DOM. I will explain what is DOM and what is web pages in later. Now let's see discuss about variable. Variable is nothing but is a container to store the data. Variable or the container to store the data. Uh, for example, this is the data file. We have to store the data into one variable. The variable name is x. Likewise, we have to store the data. Data type is nothing but a type of data which is stored to the variable. We have to give the type of data. Which data do you store? We have to give the type before the variable. For example, um, this is the data. This data is 5. It is the integer. So we have to give the integer before the variable name. Before the variable name, we have to give int x equal to 5. There are different data type: string, number, boolean, symbol, undefined. This all are the data types, and object and nulls. This all are the data types. Data type is nothing but we have to give that type of data which is stored before the variable name. Now let's see what is static and dynamic language. Static type language. Type check at compile time. Compile time means if you run the program will be compiled. In the compilation, uh, it check if there is any error or not. If there is no error, the program will be executed. But the dynamic type cannot be compiled. It will execute line by line. What's the uses of static languages? Debugging is very easy, but dynamic language is not easy to debug. Java and C++ is the static language. JavaScript is the dynamic language. Now let's see what is function and why we need to function. A function is nothing but a block of code used to perform a particular task. What's the main uses of function is we have to use the function multiple times. So reusability of function. When someone call the function will execute. Otherwise, the function will not execute. And next, scope. Scope refers accessibility of an variable. What it does means we have to access the variable using scope. There are three types of scope: global scope, function scope, and block scope. What is global scope means if you declare a variable above the function, the variable can be used anywhere in our program. But the function scope, if you declare the variable inside the function, the variable can be used only in our function. We cannot use the variable outside of the function. And next, block scope. Block scope is also related to function scope. If you declare the variable inside the block, the variable can be used only inside the block. We cannot access the variable outside of the block or not. Now let's see var, let, and const different. Var is a functional scope. functional scope. We have to, if you declare any variable inside the function, we have using var keyword and let is the block scope. If you declare a variable inside the block, use let keyword. Const, if you declare the variable cannot be changed. If you declare variable and you have to assign some data, the data cannot be changed, so we have to give, before the variable we have to give const keyword. Var and let keyword can be updated, but var can var keyword can be used to reassign the value, but const cannot be updated and we cannot be reassigned the value. This is the major difference between var, let and constant. Hoisting is nothing but if you declare a variable, we have to move the variable at the top of the scope or top of the function or the top of the object. The hoisting means moving declaration of the variable at the top of the scope, function, object and class. Now let's see what is object. Object is the collection of properties and method. Properties means it's a key value pair. The data will be stored in the property. Method means it's a implementation like a function. What are the implementation we have to do? This is object. How will you create an object? Using literal, new keyword or constructor. Constructor constructor means is a function. Use is a function when the object is created, the constructor will call automatically. So the constructor is a special function. When the object is created, the constructor will call automatically. Now let's see what is DOM and why we need to use DOM. DOM means document object model. It is a tree of object. When the web page is loaded, the browser will create the DOM. For example, I enter amazon.in. Now the web page is loaded. Now the loading, the browser will create the DOM and the browser will reach the DOM and display the content like this. What's the main uses of DOM means dynamic web pages. Using DOM, you have to change the HTML content, attributes and CSS. How will you change the HTML content and attributes? Using DOM manipulate, we have to change the HTML content. DOM manipulate means document.getElementById, query selector. Likewise, there are few commands to change the HTML content. Let's see how will you change the content. First, in HTML, I have to create one button. So in body, try to give button. Start. Please stop. So I create one button and give the background color violet. So this is the button and the background color violet. If I click this button, the background color will be changed. I do this in JavaScript. In JavaScript, first I have to select which content I want to change. So const button equal to document.getElementById. Document.getElementById. I give the ID button. Next, if I click this button, the color will be changed. So I have to add even listener. Button dot add even listener. On click, I have to call the function. On click, I have to call one function. Inside the function, if I click, the background color will be changed. So button dot style dot background color. Background is equal to, I give some color, blue. And next, button dot style dot color. Color is equal to, I give white. Let's see the button will be changed or not. So if I click this button, the color background color will be changed and the text content and the text will be white. Let's see if it is comes on. Ah, yes. Likewise, we have to do DOM manipulation. If I click this button, the content will be changed dynamically. So this is the uses of DOM.